What is up, you guys? It's Kat. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing with y'all my 4-step process on how I declutter my home and go through different spaces to make sure that things aren't building up and accumulating. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, at the moment, as you'll see, I have a lot of spaces that are just completely cluttered and overflowing with just stuff that I have been putting off going through for a very long time. But in today's video, I'm going to do it with y'all, and obviously we have Callie for support. I'm gonna stop rambling and let's get into step number 1. For me, one of the hardest parts about decluttering my home is just the overwhelming feeling that there are so many different spaces that need my attention and need work. So what I want you to do is take a notepad, or you could do this in your phone, go around your home and pinpoint all of the different areas that need your attention. So for example, off the bat, I know my office drawers are one, my hall closet is another, it's not really a pantry, but like what I use as a pantry in my kitchen, those cabinets, the drawers that I have in my laundry room. So anytime you're doing something and you open a drawer, say, and you're like, oh shoot, this thing is a disaster, you could just pull out your little notepad of your to-do declutter running list. And then super important, next to each of these decluttering projects, I want you to estimate how much time it's going to take. So for example, in my office, that's probably gonna take me a good 45 minutes to an hour because there's all papers I have to go through, and then I wanna figure out ways to sort through the drawers. So next to that, I'll write an hour, whereas my, again, pantry, quote unquote pantry in my kitchen probably will only take me like 10 to 15 minutes to do. So I'll write that next to it. And then that way, next time you're kind of hanging around your house, or you're like, you know what, I really feel like decluttering, I feel like doing something productive right now, I have X amount of time, you can go to your list and say, ooh, this project is only gonna take me about that much time, and then you go do it. And it just kind of takes some of the thinking out of it and eliminates the excuse, because you can't say, oh, I don't know what to do. You have a list of options, you just pick one and then do it. Okay, so obviously step 2 is going to be actually decluttering the space. And when you're dealing with a bunch of clutter and stuff, it can often be very overwhelming and just kind of frustrating to decide if you actually want to keep something. Maybe it's something that you always find yourself wondering if you should really have. I have a few examples which I'll share with y'all, but these 5 questions are really going to help you to narrow down on the things that are actually worth keeping and what you really should consider donating or giving away. Question 1, this is a good one. If you were in the store and you happened upon this item, would it spark your interest? Even if you already have it, like at home, you know that you have it already. If you're in the store, is it something that you would say, oh, that's so cool? So for example, I'll use these flowers. I love these flowers. If I were to see these in the store, even though I already have something exactly like it, I would definitely be drawn to it and think, oh, that's so pretty. So I know this is something that I actually do love. Another example, these really tall red boots I have. I've had these boots, I want to say, since like my sophomore year of college. And every year I think, oh, should I get rid of them? Like they're just taking up space. I barely ever wear them anymore. But if I were to see these boots in the store, honestly, I would not even think twice about buying them. Like I would never think to myself, ooh, I want to go buy knee-high maroon boots. But yet I keep holding on to the pair that I already own. Like, does that make any sense? So try and ask yourself, if you were in the store and you saw this item, is it something that you would be drawn to? And if not, maybe it's not something worth keeping in the first place. Question number 2, if the item that you have was damaged or lost or broke or something like that, would you go out of your way to go rebuy it? So for example, these flowers, say they broke. Honestly, I'd probably go rebuy another bouquet because I love them so much. So for example, this dress right here, say I were wearing it out and I ripped a hole in it. Honestly, I would not feel compelled to go out and replace it or purchase something similar just to have it in my closet. So if I'm already on the fence about keeping it, that's a pretty good reason to say it's better to donate it, let somebody else who is really going to love and cherish it have it, and I can move on and save the space in my closet. And obviously, just because you wouldn't replace something if you lost it doesn't mean you should get rid of the thing that you have. It's just a question to think about. If you're already on the fence about an item, whether you should donate it or keep it, ask yourself, well, if I did lose it and I didn't have it anymore, would I feel the urge to go rebuy it? This is a pretty simple one. When's the last time you used it? If it's something that you have not touched in years or even months, and be honest with yourself, when's the last time that you used it, and realistically, are you ever never going to use it again. And obviously this works great with clothes. When's the last time you wore it? If you haven't worn it in forever, you probably are never going to wear it. But this could also work with like a piece of decor. I have plenty of decor up in that closet, which is actually one of the things that we have to work on declutter. But I keep because I'm like, oh, maybe one season I'm going to decide that I want to decorate with it. But the seasons come and they pass and I never use it. So why am I holding on to it? Okay, this is a practical question to ask yourself. Say you do get rid of it. You donate it, give it away, and you find yourself in a situation where, hey, I actually need this. How much would it cost to replace? How difficult would it be to go out and rebuy it? So let's say, for example, you have 2 staplers. I don't know why this example came into my head, but let's say you have 2 staplers. Ask yourself, okay, I donate 1, so I only have 1 stapler. If that stapler breaks or I lose it, how difficult is it to go to the store and just purchase a new one? How much is that going to cost me? Like $5, not that much. And the likelihood that it's going to break or you're going to lose it, if it's just sitting there and you staple things once in a while, is pretty low. So in that case, I would say you only need 1 stapler. Okay, I had to throw this question in here because I had to. Ask yourself, does the item spark joy? I know I'm going back to these flowers, but these flowers spark joy in me. They're just so pretty. But there are definitely some things around my home where I look at it and I'm just kind of like, like it's just there. Maybe it's not making me want to go and take it and say, I'm giving this away. I don't want this anymore, but it definitely doesn't spark anything in me or make me happy. And I'm trying to declutter things, so what's the point of having it? On to step 3, for all of those items that you just can't decide on. You're like, I don't know, I'm on the fence. I answered yes to some questions, but no to others. And I really can't decide if it's something that I want to keep. What I want you to do is get a box, put it in the box. I would recommend having like a clothing box for this, and then maybe like a random things box for this, and then label it and say, if not opened by this date, you know, maybe due 6 months from now or a year from now, whatever you prefer, a month from now, heck, really challenge yourself. Donate everything in this box. And that way, if you don't find yourself wanting those items or thinking to yourself, I wonder where that shirt is, or, oh, I really need a second stapler. Chances are you are not going to feel that way in the future. It holds yourself accountable. It gives yourself a timeline to say, if I don't need this by this date, I really don't need it and I can get rid of it. Whenever you find yourself motivated to do an organization project, or you just are bored and you don't have anything to do, or maybe you're busy, but you know that you want to add an organizational project to your to-do list for that day, go back to that list, keep working down it, and then eventually you will be amazed at how much you get done. Having the list will just make all of these projects seem way less overwhelming and way more manageable because you know exactly what you need to do. You have time frames associated with each of them, and you can check them off as you go along, which is my personal favorite part. It's so important to keep good cleaning and organizational habits. I don't know why that was difficult for me to say. Building and developing habits to maintain these spaces once they are decluttered and organized is essential to ensuring that it stays that way. Otherwise, you spend all this time decluttering a space and then, you know, a month or 2 months later, it's back to a disaster and it's back on your list. I do have a ton of how to keep your home and your room clean videos, but I did an updated one over the summer and I love that video, so I will have it linked in the description if you want to check it out. To help give you ideas on different habits you can start to implement into your day-to-day life to make sure that as you're putting in the time and effort to declutter all of these spaces, they actually stay like that. Also, a few years ago, actually, like 3 years, I think this was 2018, I did a week of cleaning and organization challenge. Comment in the description if you were following me at that point and you remember that, and if you ever did it. But I just wanted to say that challenge is still on my website. It's still available for y'all to download and print totally free. I'll have the video I did about that challenge linked in the description, and then there's also a video kind of explaining it on my website where you can download it. All right, guys, I think that's about it for today's video. Callie says bye-bye. Yes, I love you. Yes, I love you. Oh, yes, I love you. This is probably jumping ahead of myself, but let me know in the comments when you want to see my spring clean and decorate with me. Would you rather see it like early March or early April? Like, how far out are we from wanting that? I know this is still like a month away, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are. I will have my entire clean with me playlist linked above me, so if you wanted to go through these steps and start decluttering spaces in your home and you want to do it together, I have plenty of videos for that, and I think that's about it. So I love you all so much, and I will see you next week in another video.